This is one of my biggest fears. One of my biggest fears is being home, laying in bed, or sitting on the couch watching TV, and your door is suddenly kicked open by law enforcement officials who open fire on you. You know, your natural instinct when your door gets kicked open is to grab your firearm if you are a firearm holder. And under the Constitution of the United States of America, as long as you don't have a criminal background in most states, well, in the state that I live, you are guaranteed that right to bear arms to protect yourself in such situations. But what happens when a police officer kicks open the wrong door and then sees a man with a gun whose intention is to save himself and his family from who he thinks are intruders? The police is convinced they're in the right house. They open fire. You're dead. News media says you met the police with a gun in your hand. Then they forget to mention that the police kicked the wrong damn door open. Do y'all remember a story out of Texas about a police officer? I believe her name was Geiger, and the person that got killed, I believe his name was Botham Jean. Botham Jean had come home from work, sat on his couch in his underwears with a bowl of ice cream, lived alone, went to church on a regular basis, sang in a choir, all that good stuff, was a good guy. And the police officer, Amber Geiger, stumbled into his apartment, shot him to death. And then her defense was she thought she had went into her apartment because she lived one floor below his. And she had worked so many hours on the police force that she was just overly tired, and apparently his door was left unlocked. So when she pushed the door and went in, she thought an intruder was in her own apartment, and she shot him to death. This story right here is a news story, and I saw it yesterday, and when I first saw it, I thought to myself, something went wrong. Well, the details of it today. Deputy fatally shot a black airman after entering the wrong apartment, is what his lawyer said. A Florida deputy fatally shot a black Airforce airman last week after forcibly entering the wrong apartment, his family's attorney has said in a news release citing information from a witness. The witness, who was on FaceTime with Senior Airman Roger Fortson during the incident, said that Fortson, who was 23 years old, he was alone in his apartment when the authorities kicked his door in and entered his apartment. And according to the witness statement that was released on Wednesday by attorney Ben Crump's office. Everybody knows who Ben Crump is at this point. He's a civil attorney. He is one of those who, if he takes it to court, more than likely, there are grounds for where monies will be paid out in a great amount. And that can't bring a life back, but it could bring some kind of solace to the family. Now, the airman, Fortson, he was chilling at home by himself, and then he heard a knock on the door, and it was a loud knock. According to the person who he was on FaceTime with. You know, somebody beat your door in, you be in the house and you're like, man, who knocking at my door like they're police? I have a doorbell. Ring the doorbell. Why are you beating my door down? Boom, boom, boom. He asked, who is it? Who was there? But he did not receive a reply. No one answered. After another, even more aggressive knock, according to how it was described, Fortson looked out the peephole of his door and he could not see anyone. Now he was concerned. So he retrieved a gun, which he owns legally. Now, as Fortson returned to the living room with the gun in his hand, the authorities bust the door down and shot him 6 times. The witness that was on FaceTime recalls Fortson saying, "I can't breathe," after he was shot. He then died at the hospital. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office said in a statement that was released on Tuesday that a deputy was responding to a call of a disturbance in progress when he encountered an armed man whom the deputy shot. This is a foul way to report the news. Listen to this again. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office said in a statement released on Tuesday that a deputy was responding to a call of a disturbance in progress when he encountered an armed man whom the deputy shot. A disturbance in progress where? Was the disturbance in progress in this airman's apartment? What made you want to go into that particular apartment? He was there by himself, just chilling with a friend on FaceTime. He serves in our military, active duty, for God's sakes. And then the part that says they encountered an armed man. And then they forgot to mention that that armed man was in his own apartment and heard strange noises and his door exploding and went to get a gun to protect himself in case it was an intruder with intentions of taking his life. Crump said in a statement, which is the attorney, he said in a statement that the authorities telling of the incident falsely suggest that Roger posted a threat to them. And this is deeply disturbing. And by me reading the article, it definitely seems like they're trying to pretend as if he posed a threat to them, when in fact, he was ambushed. It's imperative to correct the record and acknowledge the wrongful entry into his home. Calling for transparency in the investigation and the immediate release of body cam footage to Fortson's family. It's only right that they see exactly what's going on, since the police department, is acting as if he was the threat. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, the Florida Attorney General's Office, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, they, of course, did not immediately respond to requests for comments on Wednesday evening. Okaloosa County Sheriff Eric Aden said in a statement that he placed the deputy on administrative leave and that he asked the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to conduct a review. According to internal investigation documents released in February, a law enforcement officer from the same sheriff office shot another unarmed and handcuffed man in November after he mistook the sound of a falling acorn for a gunshot. Now, I know y'all might have seen that video. The officer had already arrested the man. He had already placed him to sit in the back of the car. And then he shot up his own car because the car was parked under a tree that grew acorns. And the acorns were falling off of the tree and hitting the car in which he had already placed the handcuffed suspect. Imagine a police officer being so paranoid, he starts unloading his weapon on his own car, thinking that the handcuffed suspect inside his car had somehow gotten out of his handcuffs and was shooting at him from inside his own car. That's the same department that this police officer comes from that just took the life of this young 23-year-old military personnel. Police violence against Black Americans has sparked mass protests over the past decade, including the Black Lives Matter movement, in response to the killing of such individuals as people like Eric Garner, Breonna Taylor, and others. If you remember Breonna Taylor's situation, it was pretty similar to this one. Public outcry reached a fever pitch in 2020 after the George Floyd situation and the fatal interaction he had with police officer kneeling on his neck for the world to see. According to the Washington Post database of fatal police shootings from 2015 April to this year, April of 2024, police killed the highest number of people on record in 2023. And black Americans are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. That's just a statistic that is proven, and I'm putting it out there for you to know. Fortson's joined the military. After graduating from high school, he went straight into the military. With honors, he graduated from high school, and he did not have a criminal record. Crump's office said in a statement that by all accounts, he was a stellar member of the Airforce, and he was loved by his family. Hobart Field, a Air Force installation in Okaloosa County, said this week on social media that Fortson was assigned to the 4th Special Operations Squadron and entered active duty in November of 2019. And he is still active duty at the time of his death. So they kicked the door in and murdered a active duty military personnel who was home alone on FaceTime on his phone with a friend. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this is one of my worst fears. See, you don't have to be outside anymore, involved in gang activities, involved in illegal activities. You don't ever have to have ever been a criminal. You could simply have had a long day at work, came home, took a shower, sat on your couch, watch a little bit of TV before you gotta go to sleep, and your door is kicked open by people who are sworn to protect and serve. And they'll take your life, and then they'll cover the story to make it seem as if you attacked them or you posed some kind of threat. I don't know what else to say. I hope some kind of justice is given to his family. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on the next video. It's Hot Topics TV /BrainFLoTv. You already know if the topic is hot, we're on it. I'm out. Hit that subscribe button. Peace.